Republican Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne of Irving, thank you so much and welcome back to Eye on Politics.
Hey, Jack, how are you doing this morning?
Nice to see you. So let's talk about this government shutdown, now record long shutdown, day 37 as you and I speak on a Thursday. And I'm wondering, is this just turned into a game of political chicken to see which political party will blink first?
I don't think so. I'd hate to think that, but I know the Republicans right now handed the Democrats a gift horse. They gave them a clean CR. It was a level of spend that Democrats have historically voted for. They had voted similar bills for over 12 times during the Biden administration. They voted for it not that many months ago. We didn't put any kind of riders on it. We didn't decrease any spend. It kept the same level of spend. And there was a lot of Republicans, myself included, that had a hard time voting for that because we don't vote for clean CRs. We want to see appropriations. We want to see budgets. But we also recognize that we needed a few more months to be able to get some of those issues passed through the House and to have negotiations, to have compromises on these things. So we passed a clean CR. The House did its job, passed it to the Senate, and the Senate has what, 14, 15 times now Democrats in the Senate have voted to keep the government shut down. They have recognized the fact that it is painful, that is causing working families, small businesses, everyday Americans, it is very painful. It is very hard on them. And what they've done is they've defined it as having leverage. What they've done is they've said they had a $1.5 trillion wish list that they wanted added to a very short-term funding bill. And it's very frustrating. What we have gotten in our district is calls saying, don't fold. Stop with the spend. We need to get back to pre-level, pre-COVID level spending. Stop it. We recognize that we were drastically have a $38 trillion debt. We have to right size the government. We've got to quit our spending. And this $1.5 trillion punk list from the Democrats it's ridiculous.
And yet the Democrats blame the Republicans.
That's not surprising.
And so, what is your message today? You're set to appear at a news conference with Speaker Mike Johnson. What do you say to the public?
I think what we're going to say is we want to have the government open. We recognize that right now we are seeing it was just announced that FAA is going to be starting to cancel flights. I think the Trump administration has done its best to make sure that most people don't even feel that we have a government shutdown right now. But for those millions of workers who are not getting paid, military who are soon not going to get paid, air traffic controllers who are having to, work on Instacart or Uber to be able to pay their rent, to be able to put food on the table, or not getting paid but still having to go to work. Those people are suffering. And we recognize that, and it's time to get back to work. This is nothing more than Democrats pounding their chest. They are not looking out for their constituents. They're definitely not looking out for Texans. I can tell you that from the number of phone calls that we've gotten in our office. But this was completely avoidable. All we ask that the Democrats do is what they have always done. And yet, because Trump is in the White House, they're fighting it, tooth and nail. The message that we're going to have is talk to your Democrat senators, get them to see reason, get them to do what they've already voted for, and vote for a clean CR, open the government back up before we see any more people have to suffer unnecessarily.
And let me get back to your point before about the air traffic reductions that we are about to see. I saw a preliminary list that was obtained by CBS News that shows Dallas Love Field
Yeah.
and DFW International Airport are on that list. How big of a concern is this?
Oh, it's massive. It's massive. We have historically, look, I was mayor of the city of Irving. One of the things that I have always complimented was DFW Airport. I used to be on their board. It is the number one economic driver in our state. To sit there and think that we don't have, the ability to be able to get where we need, folks to be able to fly into our district, people who are conducting business being able to fly where they need to go, that is a horrendous burden. And again, it didn't have to happen. What we see is Democrats who would rather have you spend tons and millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on illegal aliens as opposed to looking out for their constituents. $1.5 trillion. A lot of that is also being sent overseas for ridiculous DEI and environmental programs that have nothing to do with the US. I would urge again our Democrat colleagues, stop playing games, stop chest pumping, get back to work and open up the government and recognize the fact that these people are suffering unnecessarily, and the level of financial distress that they are causing short term right now, but is going to be long term, completely unavoidable.
And let
Sorry,
me
completely avoidable.
and let me ask you about, because the Democrats have demanded that Congress extend the subsidies for
Yeah.
the Affordable Care Act that are set to expire at the end of the year. Where are you on this? Because the reality is that premiums are going to go up in some cases pretty substantially.
Yeah, I think we need to actually fix the problem and not just keep throwing good money after bad. When we look at what ACA has done, it was supposed to be affordable. It's been anything but. As a result of the government getting involved and paying more money, the only people that are getting paid more are the insurance companies. Their profits have increased by 230%. Those are the people that are increasing your premiums. But what we have seen is on working families since ACA, their premiums have gone up about 86%. And by the way, these health insurance companies that are getting record profits right now are also turning down a third of claims. They are denying a third of all claims. So if we want to fix the problem, it's got to start with accountability of the health insurance companies and recognize the fact that just because you have health insurance doesn't mean you have health care. The government subsidizing it has done nothing to help people get access to care, higher quality care, or more affordable care. It's in the exact opposite.
Well, I mean, te there's a lot of people in Texas who are on the ACA,
Yeah.
and because Medicaid hasn't been expanded. And so I'm wondering, you're talking about long-term fix to the problem, but how
Well,
can this,
every year what we do is we give a Band-Aid. Oh, we're not going to deal with it this year. We're just going to quickly put a Band-Aid on it. We're going to pay more money to the insurance companies, and we're just going to hope it fixes itself. At some point in time, you've got to have a come to Jesus meeting and recognize that it is not. It is getting more expensive. The care is getting less. The access is declining. And we have to solve the issue. We've got a number of bills that we've included that we have put on up for votes that I want to see go through markups that I want to see on the floor. Having people have more access to higher health savings accounts where they can actually use their own dollars, but pre-tax, and having more flexibility with how they spend those dollars, making sure that, if you are an adult and you've got a mom or a dad who's recently lost their job, then had a spouse who's died or have gotten a divorce, that you can put them on your health insurance. We want to give people the tools to be able to personalize what they need, as opposed to this one size fits all horrendous experiment that has completely failed. The Democrats need to recognize that what we had said all along about the Affordable, Care Act not making it affordable, but doing the exact opposite is true. It is a failed experiment. People do not like it, but they've been forced to be put on it because all the other programs have resulted in higher premiums because the government has been subsidizing. It's not higher quality. It's not higher access. But the more the government pumps into it, the lower the quality, the more expensive it's gotten. We have caused the problem. We said that Republicans said that all along, which is why no Republicans supported it. And now Democrats have got to come figure out, yeah, that was a failure. Let's compromise and let's work on what the next solution is. But they need to open the government up to be able to do that.
and so let me ask you about election night the other night. Democrats had a good night. Yes, they were blue states, New Jersey
Yeah.
and Virginia, New York City, obviously, but the gains were in some cases wider than expected. And I'm wondering, some analysts are saying this should serve as a warning to Republicans for the midterms next year, as far as people want to focus on lowering costs, affordability, et cetera. So what do you say to that?
Oh, look, I think what you saw was in Virginia is they're going to vote for whoever's not in the White House. That's what Virginia does. You look at New Jersey, they have historically voted Democrat. That's what New Jersey does. And then New York City, where they've got 85, 90% vote Democrat. Not a surprise that they voted for whoever's on that ticket, but which is not a Democrat, by the way. Crazy socialist, who promises people who are starving, hey, we're going to give you free food, we're going to give you free rent, we're going to give you free health care. The problem is somebody's got to pay for it. And what he's doing, what Mandami is doing, is actually pushing those people who are paying for it to leave the state, to leave that city. So I think as a result of what happened in New York, I think you're going to see people within the financial means leave New York City and come to places like Texas. Because they don't want to be, have over half of their income being given away to people who, let's face it, are voting for these crazy candidates. It was shocking, though, is that you had that AG candidate in Virginia who had threatened the life of their opponent, had wanted to see the children dying in their mother's arms. That you had 80% of women vote for that candidate. That shocked me. But that is the level of support that these types of candidates are getting now from the radical left. And if that's the best that they can put up, and then they're getting supported, I think we've got a much bigger issue on our hands than we think we do. I think it was a marker that got placed in New York, and you know what? You're going to vote for this guy, you deserve him.
But I mean, we have seen polls here in Texas, recent polls that point to concerns by Texans about affordability
Yeah.
issues. Do Republicans need to address this?
Absolutely. I think we've been addressing it since, day one of Trump getting in office. We've been trying to warn during the 4 years of the Biden administration, stop overspending. Overspending leads to inflation. Inflation leads to higher costs. That's exactly what we're seeing. Again, we saw it before. We knew it was going to happen, and then it happens, and somehow people are shocked. And Democrats then point their finger to Republicans. What we're trying to do as Republicans is give people more opportunities to be able to keep what they make, giving more opportunities for jobs, looking at the private sector with this one big beautiful bill that we just passed, recognizing the fact that it gave something to everybody. It gives people who work overtime, no tax on overtime, no tax on tip for all those hardworking people in hospitality. We looked at, supplying seniors with more money take home. So, because we understand that they're burdened with this high inflation. At the same token, we're also concentrating on creating a virtuous cycle by incentivizing more of the manufacturing that we have pushed off to other countries to come back here. We want our businesses to thrive. We want our small businesses, especially, to be able to be successful, to be able to make more, to be able to hire more, to be able to invest in a larger economy. So the one big beautiful bill that we just passed before we left for August, I think has, though those benefits we have not realized yet, but our entire focus since Trump has gotten into office is to be on growing the economy, decreasing costs. I mean, look, I think it was the Wall Street Journal that came out with a number yesterday talking about Thanksgiving. It's going to be 25% cheaper than it was last year. We are seeing some costs go down, but you tell it to the average person. I look at my credit card statement and I am befuddled every month, how things are increasing. But this happened not in a day. We saw all these prices go up over 4 years of a horrendous Biden administration, and we're going to try to fix it. But part of that was the one big beautiful bill that we passed, and allowing the opportunity for those benefits to happen is going to take, it's going to happen more than overnight. But hopefully by the time the midterms happen, you're going to see that the benefits actually are realized. You're going to see more businesses thriving. You're going to see costs that have gone down. You're going to see more opportunities. And look, I look at Texas, and you covered our North Texas job fair. In North Texas, we are thriving. We had the largest job fair in the country. You had 35,000 people come out because they recognized the fact that this is a hopping economy. We had over 500 business that were hiring. So I think in Texas, we are not going the way of some of our blue states. And we are actually experiencing, rapid levels of increase in our economy because businesses are moving here. You just look at Irving alone, where you've got Wells Fargo, where you've got Caterpillar, up in Westlake, where you've got, so many of the financial powerhouses that are growing there. JP Morgan was saying that if Mandami gets elected as the mayor of New York, you're going to start seeing probably 20% of their finance sector exit. Where are they going to go? places like Texas.
And let me ask you also about the redistricting battle in California. Voters there approved Prop 50, creating 5 new Democratic seats in California in response to Texas passing its new maps that will likely give Republicans 5 extra seats. It's still tied up in the courts here in Texas. What do you make of the fact that we still don't have a decision on these congressional maps here, and the fact that California voters voted to approve Prop 50?
Well, so like, I was very pleased with District 24 before. I loved my constituents. I love that base. This will be the third district that I've had in my three, sessions in Congress. I would have liked to have seen it stay. I understand that's outside of Congress's choice. What's going on in California? For a state that can elect the people that they elect is not surprising. But that state was already so gerrymandered. It's hard to imagine it getting more gerrymandered. But that's what California does, which again is why you're seeing so many people exit that state. You're seeing them lose congressional districts because they're losing population, and you're also seeing them lose businesses. Those businesses are going to places like Texas.
All right, we will leave it there. Republican Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne, thank you so much, as
Thank you,
always. We
Jack.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.